Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. They've got over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Does anybody still use a Kindle? Hey, real quick before we jump into the podcast, the audio is a little on the poor side this week. It's not awful. It's definitely something that you're going to be able to understand everything. I wouldn't release it if you couldn't, but we had to use an audio recorder with our Skype call because our guest did not have wasn't sitting somewhere behind a microphone. Guest was using their phone, so it's perfectly fine, and it's a great episode anyway. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So let's just jump in. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. I'm Zach.
I'm Johnny, and today we have a really awesome guest returning for the second time, our buddy, Frank. How's it going, Frank?
How's it going? Good. How's it going, everybody?
Excellent.
I'm okay. I'm hanging on.
Yeah. In classic Jumbled fashion, whenever we have a guest on, we have never-ending technical difficulties, and it started with me. And it ended with Zach, but now we're here. But you know what makes me most happy, what I'm most proud about right now, boys?
What's that?
Is we're recording on a Sunday today, which is throwing it back to old school Jumbled when we were really organized.
Right.
And then we kind of got into this bad habit of, well, Sunday's kind of like a nice family day. There's football, you want to focus on that stuff. So we'll record Mondays. And then Mondays were like, well, a Monday, and kind of annoying. So then we're like, well, Tuesday's a good day. And then Tuesday became, well,
annoying.
Something happened, and Tuesday wasn't working. And we released Wednesday, so Wednesday night counts, right? And then we'll just record Wednesday, and then,
and then here's what happens after that: we record, and then, for some unknown reason, I just don't edit the thing until Saturday. So now we're 4 days late.
Well, it's not some unknown reason, because typically we record late at your time.
Yeah. Well,
so,
but
you have to go to bed at some point,
Right. But the next day I should be doing it, So I'm glad to get sort of back on some sort of a semblance of a schedule.
Yeah.
And so,
me too. And I'm even more happy that Frank's here, because I love Frank, and we've been hanging out a little bit more. At least I'm seeing you more regularly than since I moved, and that makes me happy, Frank.
I know. It's been so long since we hung out frequently, and now we've been seeing a lot more of our faces, and
I surprised you at work the other day.
Yeah, it was a great surprise. I was like, "Oh, Johnny, how are you, buddy?"
I'm wandering around Calgary, almost getting hit by cars to go see you.
So you had a bad way with cars, Johnny. I think that's the second time on the podcast that you've talked about nearly getting hit by cars. I think the first time was your trip to Texas.
Oh yeah. Whoa, yeah, when I almost got hit and then shot at by some hardcore gangsters.
Yeah.
What?
Did I know? So
please fill me in. I need all the details right now. I'm sipping tea.
Last spring, I went to a conference in San Antonio, and I was staying downtown, and I did a bunch of research, and everything was like, oh, it's a pretty good neighborhood. I was really close to the Alamo, which I had no idea was inside the city. I always imagined the Alamo being some remote place that I'd have to, cab to or take a bus or something. No, it's in the heart of San Antonio.
You expect to walk up to a shack. In the middle of a desert, be like, hey, how do I find the Alamo?
Yeah. And then think am I going to die on this trip? Although I actually almost did in a couple ways. So I land, and I'm in the cab, and I'm talking to the cabbie, and he's like, oh, your first time in San Antonio, blah, blah, blah. He's like, what do you got going on? What are your plans? I'm like, oh, here for a conference. And, I kind of want to go see the Alamo, but I think it's far. And he's like, no, we're about to drive right by it, actually. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's downtown San Antonio, dude. So I was obviously pretty stoked on that.
Sure.
And
although it sort of ruins it,
Yeah. I mean, it didn't feel as much of an adventure when it was literally a 1.5 kilometer, or for you, Zach, 0.95 miles from my hotel room.
Quick maths.
Quick maths. Yeah, no, because like the Alamo, it's like a really old looking building, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
like Adobe.
Cool.
It's like yeah.
It's like binary code, but a building.
So I'm walking in the middle of the day, San Antonio, and I'm kind of like confused and like figuring out the lights, and I start walking as this car, this big multi-road intersection, whatever. And I think I have the right of way. I'm pretty sure I have the right of way. There's a crosswalk sign, and I hear this car honk, and I like trying to turn left, like I can hear him kind of on my right, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I turn around and do the classic like, what do you want? And while I'm doing this, I turn around and the light had turned yellow while I was walking because it was a big street, and it's a car full of like Latino gang members. I'm assuming gang members because they had face tattoos on shit. And they start yelling at me and like throwing signs, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die!" So I immediately stopped in the middle. I'm like, "I'm sorry." Like I'm like trying to wave them, like, "Go ahead, turn, man, turn."
I'm a tourist.
I'll just chill in this median here in this massive intersection. I don't want to get shot. And then he's like yelling me to go, but I couldn't hear him, and they were getting frustrated. So then I just like fucking run. I just straight up. I'm out.
All right, I'm out.
Yeah, I was in San Antonio for 30 minutes and I almost got shot.
That might be a record, man. 30 minutes.
Yeah, so I was clearly on high alert after once I got into the area in San Antonio where the Alamo is, but it's actually a really sweet area. It's pretty fun.
That's sweet.
So I have no idea why I went with that story.
Well, we were talking about you almost got hit by a car in Calgary too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that happens. Apparently cars just really like me,
Mm-hmm. Either that or you're super oblivious. I don't really know which one it is.
I'm pretty aware of my surroundings. I like to think that's the case.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
See, that's what oblivious people say. I think I'm no.
I'm pretty self-aware.
I'm good.
I was really excited. Okay, I was in Texas. I like Texas. I was going to the Alamo.
Yeah.
I sent a picture, like a selfie with me in front of the Alamo, to my dad, and he was super jealous. I was like, "Yeah, fuck off, old man. I'm in the Alamo." But Zach, I'm going to throw Frank under the bus here because while we were waiting for you to sort out your technical difficulties, we were talking
shit. You guys talking mad shit while my computer was down, huh?
Well, prior to your computer crashing, the first time we started recording, Frank had let out who his favorite team was, which I think has a bit of a rivalry with your favorite team. Sure. And then we were talking about fantasy, and he said, "Man, I really want to talk to Zach about how shitty Aaron Rodgers is," and I just.
Oh man, it's not that he's shitty, but is he worth 134 million? I don't know.
This season,
debatable this season, but I'm happy to see an existence of some semblance of a run game.
Yeah, that's true.
They are diversifying, which is good.
You can't put it all on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders like they have in the previous season or previous seasons.
That and Aaron, I think Devontae Adams was injured for a bit too. I think that's why that might have helped. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he was out, he had that game against Dallas where he threw for like 5 touchdowns. So you really just don't know. That is true. Yeah. It's dependent on, I guess, the team that you're going up against. And
that was the week I had him on my bench. Felt good. Also, I think the week after, Zach, you said no matter what, always play Rodgers.
Yeah.
Give up on Goff.
Oh, 100%. Like for
and
fantasy,
I've stuck with that.
Yeah. Plus, he can't. Like Aaron Rodgers has the best mustache by far in the league.
You know what I noticed about Aaron Rodgers?
It's true.
He's the kind of guy that if you see him off the field, he's a good-looking dude. I think he's like a genuinely attractive guy. You put a helmet on that fucker, and he transforms into some kind of troll, like hot dog face looking dweeb.
It's sort of true. It's sort of
seriously,
true.
Man. You see pictures of him like sitting, like chilling on the sidelines with his helmet on. His face is just like squished in, and he looks kind of like a hot dog with like a mustache. Yeah.
Yeah, so imagine if Rogers was listening to you right now. Ooh, man.
Yo, Rogers,
I feel like he'd laugh. I feel like he'd laugh at it.
You're my go-to guy, and ever since that week, and Zach and I had a podcast, and he said, no matter what, always start Rogers. Just trust in Rogers. And I've done that, and I am now pushing for a playoff spot. I'm on a sweet win streak. I was so committed that Rogers is on a bye this week. I contemplated leaving him in my quarterback slot just out of respect.
That's
a bad financial move right there, man. I don't think you should do
that. Well, I put in Goff, and it's not working out for me. So, but it's all I had. So 4 points is better than no points, right, guys?
Yeah. Definitely, man. I've lost in fantasy by 0.1 point, and it was the most heartbreaking loss of my life.
That is really frustrating.
Most of my fantasy games have ended like that in the past, but it's probably been a few years since I did fantasy football, because my last season of fantasy was just a series of games where I lost by like fractions of a point, and I'm just like, fuck it, dude. I don't care enough.
Yeah.
I was really into fantasy for a while, and I had to take a break because it ruined football for me.
Yeah.
And then I stopped really cheering for my team, go Pats go. And then like really focusing on individual players, and then over stressing and not really investing into games, but looking at players. And as a former player, I really like actually just watching football and I had an interesting experience last weekend when Allie and I were in Regina visiting her sister and brother-in-law.
Don't talk like that, dude. Don't say vagina on the pod. You don't got to get all
vagina. It rhymes with fun. Also, sorry. Where Deadpool's from. Anyways, we were watching football, and I didn't have any players like playing in either game, so I was pretty chill. And I really love watching the line. And I know most casual football viewers will watch the ball.
Sure.
And I was picking up on some really cool plays and some really awesome blocks. And there was one dude, I can't remember a game. I think he was on Buffalo. Did we talk about this last week? Did I talk about this?
I don't know.
No, we didn't record last week. Anyways, where this defensive lineman was just lighting the O-line up, and I was so into it, and everyone was like, what are you looking at? Like, why are you getting so excited? I'm like, you need to watch this guy. So I literally stood up next to the TV and was like, every play I was like, watch this dude, watch this happen. Like, watch this. And Allie was just like, you have such a weird vision for football. She's like, I just watch the ball, and I want to see a sweet pass or something cool. I'm like, yeah, football is it's
more.
It's so much more. Like, it's a team sport. But it's the individual matchups make it this really interesting. Like, there's so many like little details, if you're not paying attention to, you miss out on.
Sure.
And fantasy had ruined that for me for a little bit, because I just was like following the ball and like throw it to my guy.
Right.
Even today, watching the Pats game, cheering for the Pats, but getting really pissed when they weren't throwing to Mohamed Sanu, who's my receiver. I was like, come on, Brady, come on.
Yeah.
That is true. You get so lost in fantasy too. Like I was telling Johnny earlier, like my fantasy league is pretty serious. Like there's 12 teams. Buy-in is $250. It's $250 to buy in, and then last place has to put in another $250. And
what
so
the hell, man? Are you playing with like some executives or shit? What's going on, man?
No,
serious gamblers.
12 friends that really love gambling against each other and chirping each other. But the worst part is like the last place team, we have to either choose on our punishment, which is either 7-day Sports Illustrated photo shoot, like naked, on our Facebook and Instagram, like holding a ball in front of our dick, or 5 minutes of open night mic at a comedy club, and so like we're all stressing out about it. And, like the trades are unreal, and like the chirps are pretty funny. So I enjoy that part about fantasy. But Johnny, you're right. Like
that's high risk, man.
It is. It's, you know, like I don't have my like beach bod yet. Like I'm like,
start working on the 5 minutes, man.
yeah. I know.
That's what I would. 5 minutes of open mic would be
an hour.
Devastating. I think like this podcast, one of my favorite things is getting Zach to really chuckle. And I have some really good quips, I think, where I'm like, hey, I'm kind of funny. But to think about having to stand up in front of a bunch of people who are all staring at you, expecting you to fucking bomb, because clearly you were doing 5-minute open night, Mike. You're not good.
Yeah.
And just like, how do you carry that? I have such respect for stand-up like comedians. There's part of me that's like, I want to do that. But then there's like that, like the realist in me is like, no, you don't. You really don't.
Apparently it's the most stressful job out there, because, you know, like you perform, and if you suck, you get booed. But if you're really hilarious, they expect you to have like new skits every time, right? Like it's super stressful.
Yeah, and from what I hear, that's the thing, though. Everybody gets booed, you know.
Oh yeah,
early going up. So it's like, so it's not like you're going to be looked at poorly from another comedian's perspective, you know. No, you got up there, you gave it your shot, and I think that's like one of the things that I want to do eventually is just get up on stage one time at least and just see what I can do.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think the approach is to not think about jokes but tell a story, because you can eat up a lot of time instead of like, hey, knock knock joke. I mean, obviously you're not leading with a knock knock joke. Although I would be really interested in seeing a stand-up comedian who specializes in knock knock jokes.
Maybe if I lose, I'll open with that. It's like, knock knock, who's there? This guy who lost the fantasy, and that's the reason why I'm here.
Oh, I like it. That cuts the tension, because then people immediately their expectations drop and are like, all right, this poor bastard.
That's a good start. Support. You know what, dude?
Tank the league, Frank.
That's only 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. But hey, guess what? You're off to a good start, bud.
Frank, if you lose and you do that, either A, I want to be your photographer for your photo shoot, which is arguably worse than doing 5 minutes, because it's 5 minutes. You put that shit on the internet, it's forever.
Forever.
But if you do the comedy show, I'm going to sit front row and be the biggest hype man. I'm going to laugh so hard at everything you say.
That would be awesome. But my goal right now is not to lose.
I know, but from my personal experience, Frank, I would like this to happen to you.
I thought we were friends, Johnny.
So, I'll be there. I'll support you all the way through it.
I want you to lose, but I'm going to support you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's way too stressful, man. So, sorry, you're gonna say something, Zach?
I was just gonna say, start piecing together stories, like Johnny said. Time yourself. You know, just be ready. Just be ready.
What a way to push yourself, though. Hey, like that should be an interesting challenge.
The challenge is to win fantasy. That's a real challenge on its own, man.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what would be really funny? Let's say you lose fantasy, and then you go up and you do these 5 minutes and you actually crush it or do like decently okay. And then in like 2 years, you're the next Joe Rogan. And you'd be like, yo, fuck you guys.
Joe Rogan's unreal, though. He's pretty funny.
You know,
not as funny as Jumble, though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's a lie.
I mean, Joe Rogan doesn't do nearly enough dick jokes for Jumbled.
I don't know. I think he's got a good amount of dick jokes he tosses.
Yeah, that's actually true. You know what I've really appreciated about listening to Joe Rogan's podcast? When he gets together with other comedians and they talk about the writing process and how they all fuck up. Like they all fail when they're writing new shit, and that's why they do so many sets, because they're testing new material and that's how they write. So hearing that writing process is really cool. But also, how fucking brave do you have to be to say, here's this new material, I'm Joe Rogan, so everyone expects you to fucking be incredible.
Crush. Yeah.
And you go out and you throw this new material and it flops, and then you get up and you eat a dick sometimes twice in the same night, different dicks too, and then you go back home and you start writing and tweaking that material, and then 2 days later you're like, yo, let's see if this is the same dick or not, and then you go out and try again.
Yeah. There is something to that. I went to, when was it? It was like back in the early summer or something, maybe late spring. I went up to the Kansas City Improv, and Brian Callen was in town, and he's one of my favorite comedians, just because he's so animated and just really funny. And I definitely had high expectations. They were sort of tampered a little bit because he had just shot a special, and so he was coming off of that material that he just laid all out for an hour, and he's going into the process of trying to create new stuff. Wasn't quite at the point yet where he had gathered new material, so he was recycling old bits and trying to toss new shit in and sort of improving a little bit with his act, and you could tell that he was trying to get something. But there is that awkward stage that every comedian goes through. I can't imagine having, like, we're talking about stressing over 5 minutes, 60 minutes of
a long time.
material.
That's years of writing, though, and that's a lot of effort. But I do think, Frank, at some point, if you should finish last, you can go back to this podcast and do your 5 minutes about the writing process.
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Tell that story. I think that could be pretty funny. But I am really easy to make laugh, so I don't know if I'm a good test on that.
Yeah,
I'm really easy to amuse.
Hopefully, here's some keys, Johnny. Ooh,
tinglies.
Hopefully, we won't come to the conclusion that I will be doing a 5-minute open night mic. So I need some positive vibes from everybody here on Jumbled, all you listeners. Just pray that I win or not place
the
last.
Football gods for you.
Yeah.
Hashtag Fantasy Frank.
Fantasy Frank.
Oh no.
Man, there's so many ways that can go. So many ways.
So what is the breakdown for payout? Is there a first, second, third for fantasy, or is it all?
So it's first place is 2,000, and then second is I think 1,000, and then I think third place gets their money back. I have to look at the email. Like there was like a huge email with all the rules, but last place has to put in 250, and then second last place has to put in 125. Ooh. So it makes it really competitive, and we don't ghost our team. That's why the punishment is in place. So, and typically we are very stern about that. Like this 5-minute open night mic or Sports Illustrated photo shoot will happen.
No matter what, Frank, if the person who loses does the open mic night, can I be your guest? Can I be your date?
Absolutely. Oh, this is going to be filmed. We're all going to be there. It's going to be great.
So the only downside to losing and having to do the open mic is just the nervousness, because if you go in and, like Johnny said, if you go in and you crush, you're more likely, if somebody you're not supposed to film whenever you're at the stand-up.
I think you can get special
requests,
right? But if somebody is filming and you do well and that goes up, then you're only getting positive attention,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Nobody's gonna post a shitty comedian up on you. Like, why would you do that?
You know what I would do? I would just stand up there for 5 minutes, be like, "Hello, my name's Sean. I'm up here because I suck at fantasy football.
Yep.
Thank you." And then I would just sit there for 5 minutes.
Dude, that is
keep a straight face.
That's an Andy Kaufman level comedy, dude.
Or I would turn it around and say, "Yo, I suck at fantasy football. I'm clearly gonna suck at this. Just chirp me, guys. Just chirp me. Punish me. Punish me worse. Heckle the shit out of me."
It's like, any questions?
Yeah.
Why do you suck at fantasy?
Well, the thing is,
well, it started way back in my mother's womb.
She hated football, and did not let me listen to football while I was in the womb, so I blame it on her.
Thanks, Mom.
This is me doing a punishment, throwing my mom under the bus. Okay, guys, I got a real question for you. So Allie's parents were visiting a little while back, and I'm not a breakfast guy. Like, I typically fast through breakfast. But they wanted cereal. So I went to the store and I bought cereal, and I got like Cheerios and stuff. So I had these 2 boxes of Cheerios. And I was thinking about it. And do you guys think cereal is soup?
No.
Is it like breakfast
cereal.
soup? No, but like, if you make chicken soup, you're not like, this is chicken. You're like, this is chicken soup. And cereal, the bowl and milk combo is the cereal mixed with the milk, and we just call it cereal. So is it soup? Like, where do you draw that line?
How I define soup is the fluid that is used, not the items floating in the fluid. So
what kind of fluid are you talking about, Zach?
So like broth and stuff like that.
Well, what is broth made of?
Like chicken stock.
Exactly.
But chicken stock is all of.
What about beef stock?
Sure.
What?
I mean, it all comes from the meat.
What about broccoli soup, where it's just pureed broccoli?
Sure.
And cream sauce and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I used to put like bananas in my cereal, so it could potentially be considered a soup, because I used to, like, in my like cereal, I would add like bananas and I don't know, other stuff. But I'm not that bougie anymore. I just have milk and cereal. But to me, it's still cereal. Like cereal, soup is soup. You know, like.
But where do you draw the line?
I don't eat cold soups.
What if I put chunks of chicken in my cereal?
You're a psychopath.
Would that make it? I mean, your boy's got to get his protein in, okay?
Yeah, fibers. I'm sure there's protein in fibers and stuff like that. So
exactly. So you're all saying cereal is its own thing.
Yeah, cereal is cereal.
Yeah.
It's its own entity.
cereal can be hot and cold, right? So you can have like oatmeal. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's different.
No, oatmeal is oatmeal.
I eat cold soup all the time.
No, but oatmeal is a breakfast cereal. It's just hot.
Would gravy be a soup then? Like, if you make a traditional gravy, which is supposed to be made out of the drippings.
No, because you put gravy on top of food that could stand alone by itself.
Yeah, gravy is not like, it's its own thing. It's like a commodity on its own. It's a condiment. That's what gravy is.
As an American, I ladle.
Your opinion matters the most here.
As an American, I ladle the gravy directly into my mouth hole.
Do you know?
And then I eat my potatoes.
Fucking confused I was the first time I went to breakfast at Graceland and biscuits and gravy was a thing. I was like, no wonder Americans are fat. You guys are eating gravy for breakfast.
I like it. I don't know.
I mean, I like it, right? But we all know I'm a fat.
Then why are you dissing them if you like it?
Well, I just think it's weird.
When I was in Louisiana, I had gravy for breakfast. It was like, what was it, like country steak or something? Like country.
Yeah, chicken fried steak and stuff. My cheat meal when I was at Graceland, Sundays, we'd go for brunch, meat lovers pizza, and then I'd get chicken fried steak put on it, and then I'd cover it in gravy. That was my cheat meal on Sundays.
Boy, that's an extra cheat.
That's quite the cheat meal.
Oh, it was.
It's like hollandaise sauce, though. Like, you have eggs Benedict, right?
Yeah, hollandaise sauce. That's horrible for you, but also delicious.
Yes. So that is the same category to me as gravy. I wouldn't consider it a soup.
Okay, I'm on board that gravy's not soup. I was just trying to understand the line. But I think cereal is like a weird, cold, creamy soup.
I don't know.
It's definitely something you could argue, but I do not subscribe to that.
We're gonna start a poll on that.
I'm on Zach's side with this one. Cereal is cereal. Soup is soup.
All right. Graceland, I know this is maybe not as relevant for you, Frank, but it is kind of cool. So our university now has an esports team for League of Legends, which is a game that I play a lot. They won like the state championship in their division this weekend.
Way to go, Jack. It's esports. That's awesome.
Yeah. You know what? I went to Graceland 10 years too late. That's like if I was at Graceland right now, I could be wrestling and I could be on the esports team and life would be fantastic. And I had a brilliant time at Graceland, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But what an interesting place to be in where I was texting our old residence hall director, who's the coach of the esports team, about League of Legends stuff today. And I was like, while the game was going on, and it's just so weird to think that this is where, like Frank, you were talking about social media. Like, it's so weird that this is a thing now. And I was trying to explain this to my mom about how like Graceland won an esports thing, and she's like, "What? What? What is this? A video game?"
Hey guys, let's stop to take a second to talk about our sponsor for this week and every week, Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your ears a new vocal sweater. That's what I'm going to say. It doesn't really make much sense, but it's the equivalent of that. You're going to warm your eardrums up with some really, really quality audiobooks. The audiobook we're going to talk about for the month of November is Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered by Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark, the hosts for My Favorite Murder. You guys know that podcast. I'm sure a lot of you guys listen to that podcast. They're doing really well over there. Basically, this program is read by them, along with Paul Giamatti, who's in everything. You guys know Paul Giamatti. You've seen him in something, I guarantee it. And it also includes sections that were recorded in front of a live audience. That's pretty awesome. They're sharing some never-before stories ranging from their struggles with depression, eating disorders, and addiction. They recount their biggest mistakes and deepest fears, reflecting on the formative life events that shaped them into the people they are today. They focus on the importance of self-advocating and valuing personal safety over being nice or helpful. They delve into their own past, true crime stories, and beyond to discuss meaningful cultural and societal issues with fierce empathy and unapologetic frankness. My Favorite Murder started as a way for Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark to work through their fears. Now it's a worldwide community. Even its darkest moments are lightened by Karen and Georgia's effortlessly funny banter and genuine empathy. You guys are going to really love this one, and if you do, please let us know. If you wanted to listen to something else, like I say every week, feel free to check out over 180,000 other audiobooks that you can listen to. There's something on there that is going to tickle your fancy, and we can't wait to hear what you guys are listening to. I love, by the way, that I know for the purposes of it being a collegiate team, they have to have a coach. But what value is the coach adding to play in the game?
There's so much strategy.
You know what you're doing.
There's so much strategy in that game, though. No, there's like picks, like who you're playing, who you're banning, your strategy. I won't get into this because this has
I guess I don't know anything about League of Legends, so I can't speak to that. But
yeah, it's a very strategic game.
I used to play Dota, so I kind of understand.
Yeah, so you get it.
But I just don't like what qualifies somebody to be a coach. Like they have to have years and years of strategy under their belt. But esports is like a new thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I think like Doty. So Doty is a residence hall director. At one point was both Zach and I's boss. And we used to stay up till 4 a.m. playing video games with him.
Easily the best boss I've ever had in my life.
We were playing like Left 4 Dead, which was probably the best game ever made.
That's true. That was a great.
Or Call of Duty with our boss, and it would be like one more game, sure. One more game, yeah. One more game.
Like
it's like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, Jody, don't we have a meeting at 8 a.m.? He's like, yep, you better be there. It's like, God damn it. You know what we should do? We should bring Jody on for a podcast. I want to talk to him about esports. That's pretty sweet.
That's actually a really great idea. Let me make note of that real quick.
All right. Frank, what got you out of Dota?
I got too obsessed with it, like back in the day with Counter-Strike and Dota being like a big thing. That's all I obsessed about. And like I'd go to bed and wake up and be like, oh, I want to play this. And then I completely forgot that I had to live, a life. So like I don't knock anybody that is like pursuing like a professional career on it. But like for me, I think I was getting too obsessed with it. and it was taking away from other aspects. So I did get away from video games, and I haven't touched a video game since. But like, I'm all for it. Like, I watched this documentary about esports, and like, yeah, these guys, like, they train 12 hours a day. That's like, it's absurd the amount of hours they put in to become professionals. So, but for me, yeah, ultimately, like, I just knew that I needed to move on with what I needed to do, basically. And I think I just got a little too obsessed, and it wasn't healthy for me. Yeah,
I can relate to that. So I got an email today from Blizzard saying, "Oh, we renewed your WoW subscription." And I was like, "Fuck, I have not played." I tried to get back. I shouldn't say I tried. I was tempted to get back into WoW Classic, and it was too dangerous, and I had to step away. And I don't think I can do it. I just don't think I can do it. I got too much shit going on in my life. You know?
Do you think like you would get too obsessed with it, or do you think like you wouldn't put enough time to make it, fun?
Both. It's a grind. I don't have the time. I just have other priorities, And I'm also terrified that game will suck me in and I will abandon all those other priorities. And I like my career. I like going to the gym. I like doing this podcast. All of that would go away.
I like showering.
It would be
I like eating.
Johnny'd be like, you know what? I really got to focus on this WoW stuff, and I'm gonna have to step away from the podcast. And I'm gonna be like, God damn it! Now I'm stuck doing this thing solo.
Yeah, that's a legitimate risk at all times. Because that game is fucking dangerous. It's heroin. So I was talking to a buddy, and we've both been playing since WoW first came out. And he got an app where he could see how much playtime he's played in World of Warcraft on all of his accounts. Like it groups all of his accounts together. And in 10 years, he has spent 400 days in that game. Like 400.
Over a tenth of a decade.
Yeah. One full year, more like a year and a third of his life has been sitting in that game, playing that game. And I'm not that far because I took some big gaps, but I'm up there, and it's terrifying.
That's over. I mean, if we're looking at averages, that's over 1%, over 1% of their life that they spent doing video games, or one specific video game. Not even grouping in other games that your friends played.
Yeah, it's terrifying, and it's so much effort. I used to spend so much time preparing for raids. Like, it was like a job. I'd go to work, and this was when I was in the trade, so I was like pretty much 9 to 5, unless I had like a big call or something. And I would come home. I wouldn't even shower. I would sit down at my desk. I'd order pizza or something. And I would play from like 6 until 2 a.m. And
oh my gosh,
that's all I would do. And I'd go to sleep, and then I'd wake up at 6 a.m., go to work, come home. Oh my God, I was a horrible person. How I had a girlfriend at the time is a miracle. So I've made the conscious decision, Zach, that I'm going to cancel my Blizzard account because I can't do it. And I've made this decision about a month ago, and I haven't played in 3 weeks. But that potential for me to play is there, and that's enough for me to pay that $20 a month. Where I'm like, well, maybe I'll play. Just a little taste.
You're gonna pull the plug on it.
I'm trying to pull the plug. I'm making the decision to pull the plug, but will I get to physically pulling the plug? I don't know.
Is that deactivating your account or just like disabling your account?
Disabling. So like no game time, so I won't be able to play, but I'm not paying, and I'm just gonna try and detox my body. But man, even talking about it right now, just saying I'm gonna stop having the ability to play makes me really nervous and sad.
Oh, I think you should do it. I think it's time.
If you're having that response, if you're having that kind of response, that's the same thing as like if you're on like a withdrawals of whatever drug you want to throw out there, it's the same shit.
Oh yeah, it's pretty terrifying. But God, that game is so fun.
Yeah, you can turn anything into heroin. Car parts, video games, fantasy football.
Mm-hmm. I'm like obsessively refreshing my fantasy
Me
right
too.
now to see. Come on, Goff, you're garbage. Fucking garbage, Goff.
He did great last year, but I don't know this year.
It's the big contract downside, right? It's unfortunate.
Here's an interesting thing that I just thought about. Is fantasy football like an adult version of a video game? Like you're being a coach to real-time football and you're trying to manage it. Like I feel like this is a video game for me when NFL is on. Like I'm like always looking at stats, always checking up on players and stuff.
I don't know if I'd say it's a video game, but what I've heard it be compared to is like Jock Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure.
Which I can see. I can get it. As someone who plays Dungeons and Dragons and was an athlete, it fits that role in many ways. Yeah. It is an interesting. Do you remember playing like Madden back in the day in like early 2000s when they had like coaches mode or owners mode and you had to like pick what food you sold in your stadium and to get like more fans and more money so you could buy better players, and you weren't actually playing the game, you're just like
you're just
being the GM. Yeah, managing your garbage football team.
See, the one thing I would like to see fantasy do is evolve into a more complete system where it's like, sure, you can pick, like you have your defense, right? But it's just like a team. It's not specific. So I'd like to see like, Blake Martinez got so many tackles in a game, man. That I know that's a lot, but it's a lot of working parts. But you already put the work in for offense, put a little bit of work in on defense.
You want to pick another?
I'm not playing. 5-6 I would just like to see.
Oh, you want us all to suffer?
Yes.
Your sick experiment.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how you would rank that in fantasy football. Like, let's say I had like Cam Chancellor and Khalil Mack on my team, but then Chancellor gets injured. Like, how do I pick up a streaming player? Like, that it would be like another fantasy football on its own. You know what I mean? Like,
sounds too stressful. I don't like it.
Yeah, so fantasy football is stressful enough. Like, I don't think I could like handle more stress. Like, I'm after today, I'm definitely gonna like start piecing together, like a 5-minute open mic night because of it. Like,
I'll help you, Frank. I'll help. We'll do a duo. I'll stand up there next to you.
You should just like put on my clothes and hi, I'm Frank.
Hello, my name is Frank. Hi. All your friends are like, wait, what?
What
the fuck is going on?
What the shit?
That'd be pretty.
That'd be dope.
Pretty fun. Let's
that
do it.
That would be really funny, actually. I should just like hold up a sign. I'm Frank. I lost to fantasy football and I lost my voice. So here's Johnny.
Hey guys, I'm Frank.
I lost to fantasy football.
Yeah. I have another serious question for you guys.
Okay.
How many chickens do you think it would take to kill an elephant?
I don't know that a chicken is capable of killing an elephant.
Well, that's why I said
massive chickens.
Like a swarm of chickens, like 100 chickens, all pecking at an elephant. What about like 1,000 chickens?
The only thing I can think of, the only reason an elephant would die to chickens would be if they were enclosed in some sort of a cage of sorts, and there were literally thousands upon thousands of chickens shoved in, around, under, on top of the elephant. It would die from
that's the question. How
suffocation.
Many chickens?
I don't know.
You think it would have to be like the only way they'd kill it is if it was you put an elephant in a box and filled it full of chickens and it just suffocated.
Yeah, it would shit in its eyes and ears and in its mouth, right? The elephant wouldn't be able to stomp them quick enough.
How many chickens do you think you could fight off?
All of them.
All of them?
Throw all the
chickens on the planet?
Throw all the chickens.
All of the chickens.
Guess what our first jumbled YouTube video is going to be?
Can we throw in a couple of roosters? Because they're aggressive.
Roosters
are aggressive.
We'll put some like razor blades on their talons, like they do in Southeast Asia.
It's sort of like
what? Do they actually do that in Southeast Asia? Like I know they
cockfights are really big, right?
Yeah, cockfights are big, but
hey guys, we already talked about vaginas. You don't got to talk about cocks, all right? Come on, man.
Hey, quality, Zach. We have women listeners as well.
All right, but come on, man.
All 3 of them.
So I think Lacey might be the only one. Like truly, Lacey might be the only one.
Do you think they would modify roosters to fight in rooster fight like cockfights? Like, do you think they'd like feed them steroids or something?
Oh, guaranteed they do. They have to. There's probably like selective breeding where if you're like a badass cock, you just like pump out more babies that are badass cocks. I don't know.
Yeah, selective breeding is probably definitely a thing.
Oh my god! You know what's really terrifying? Side comment. So I just got a targeted ad on Google Chrome for guess what? WoW
Cox.
Classic.
Oh,
no, Cox I'd be okay with, but this fucking ad just popped up.
Yo, they're listening in, man.
It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Johnny's porn browser history is probably filled with cock, so we're all good.
I've been very clear about this. If I'm watching porn, I like there to be a man in it.
I do too. Because I put myself in the position of the dude that's in the video.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. What are 2 normal things that become really weird if you do them back to back?
I'm gonna say shitting and eating cereal
at the same time.
But I've done that before. I have done that before.
I'm a multitasker.
I have definitely done that.
No, but like directly after, like you shit, you're on the toilet, and then you eat cereal while you're on the toilet.
Yeah, that's normal.
I have definitely done that. I've done that.
I'm pretty sure I sent a snap once of me in the bathroom to you, Zach and Joe, eating an apple while snapping, you guys, while pooping. And Joe was like, "What the fuck are you doing right now?"
Caption is the cycle of life.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to like rack my brain. Frank, do you have anything off the top of your head? 2 things? Because I'm drawing blanks otherwise.
I can't think of it. Like doing what's really obscure, doing something back to back. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough
I don't know.
question.
Johnny stumped me on that one because I'm. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I said it out loud, it doesn't seem as easy to answer.
All these questions, even the simplest questions, are hard to answer when you're on the spot. Like
that is true.
I would say probably doing something like running like the 100-meter sprint in the Olympics, and then doing like a fine sketch.
You know what I want to see? You know what I want to see? I want to see hot dog eating contest followed by the 2-mile sprint.
That'd be a fucking disaster, man.
Puking hot dogs everywhere.
I would 100% would watch that happily. Well, eating a hot dog.
I want to see the like close-ups and the slow-mos of everybody yakking all the hot dogs out with like opera music playing in the background. Like,
yeah. Oh my god, this is brilliant! I'm fucking brilliant.
Let's get a poll going.
The new sport, baby, coming in hot.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's not do the poll. Let's get some investors.
I'm down. I'm down to try it.
All right. Frank said.
Yeah, I'm game. We should also spin a wheel where it's like choose the hot dog that you have to like eat before.
Ooh, so it'd be like a chili cheese dog or something like that.
Yeah, or like a turkey dog.
Like I really like where this is going. What do you think is the creepiest thing you could say to a stranger on the street?
I love you.
I imagine just thinking about having walked with Allie in places and the cat calls that happened to her. I think I love you would probably be pretty tame.
Yeah, probably something like you smell better when you're sleeping. Because
Zach, this was a trick question. I'm really concerned about you now.
Because that infers that you've been inside of their house when they're sleeping. So that's creepy on a different level now. That's a psychological.
Yeah. See, but if somebody came up to me and said that, I'd be like, hey, this guy's just joking around. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, oh, whatever, fuck out of here. Right? But if somebody came up to me and was like, I really love you, you know, I'd be like, who the really fuck are you? Like, yeah, like, who are you? I don't know.
Okay. If you were a mad
You're not answering any of these, Johnny, by the way.
Yeah, I'm the host here right now, okay? These are
we want to hear what's running through your mind, Johnny.
I'm looking for the answers, guys.
Okay.
These are the burning questions in my mind at the middle of the night when I wake up randomly and can't sleep. If you're a mad scientist, what scientific experiment would you run, assuming ethics and money weren't an issue?
Ooh.
One answer. There's only one answer to this. Man, bear, pig.
Oh, man, bear, pig. Of course.
I mean, that's not true. There's more than one answer to that.
Shit, man. I don't know. Ethical. I don't know, man. Because and that's one of those things where it's like you're sort of entrapping me a little bit, where it's like, oh, I'm giving you free reign to say some really awful shit, but then I say it on the podcast, and now
I call you out. I'll figure out my bit. My experiment would be, how many chickens can Zach fend off before he dies?
All of them, dude.
All of the chickens.
I'm snapping necks, dude. I'm snapping them and I'm kicking them, dude.
Okay, but so okay,
they can't fly, but they can flutter. They can peck you in the eyeballs. Like, I'm talking. Zach, no weapons?
Okay. I don't get eye protection.
You can use dead chickens as a weapon. I'll give you that.
Are we throwing these chickens in waves at Zach? Like, is it like 100 chickens and then another 100 chickens?
Oh, interesting. Like, I don't know, Frank. If you're part of this experiment, we're gonna have to figure out the scientific process here.
Right.
Or is it like a one at a time chicken thing? Because eventually you're gonna get tired.
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, so if we throw a wave of 5 and then throw a wave of 10, it's gonna completely fuck with Zach's mind. He's gonna be like, oh shit, I just killed 5. And then now there's 10. Like, what the fuck do I do? And then eventually he's gonna get fatigued, and then the chickens are gonna win.
That really changes the
dynamic.
Really because if it was like one at a time, you could probably kill quite a bit.
But
if it was like 100 or even 20 at a time, that's a lot of chickens.
Here's the thing: there's no way for these chickens to all just be fucking furious at me, right? So I get tired.
It's an experiment.
I get tired. I just sit down. And I relax, right? And I just
cuddle the chicken.
Yeah, I just give it time. And then eventually I get my energy back. I stand up. I start snapping more necks, man. Getting my dinner. Putting my dinner on the table, dude.
Snapping necks, baby.
Snapping necks and breaking checks, dude. That's all I do.
Right. So here's what I think we should do is we should roll Zach in some honey and then put chicken feed all over it.
Ooh,
and so then
there we go.
For a week.
Right, okay. This is why you're my research assistant. You're solving the problem. These are the real questions and the real solutions.
Yeah. Well,
I think we got to put this to the test. I think I'm gonna call a farm and just order about 1,000 chickens. We'll start with that. Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna do in order to survive. All right. I'm gonna call up Lacey. I'm gonna get my dick tattooed like a python. Right. And then the chickens are just gonna be fucking terrified, and they'll stay away from me. Even if I am covered in chicken feed, it won't matter.
I don't know. I think this is a losing battle for Zach because we have an unlimited amount of chickens.
Unlimited amount of chickens.
And then we'll just starve them. We'll starve them.
Yeah.
Oh,
pump them full of steroids, so they're hungry. They're full of steroids,
and they got those red eyes too. You ever looked at chicken's eyeballs?
Oh yeah, they stare you down. They peer into your soul. You know,
can you guys hear my dog barking? God damn it, guys.
I can't actually, but you quickly understand why chickens, or birds and dinosaurs are related. You know, when you look in their eyes and you're like, holy shit.
I don't know how many dinosaurs you stare down in the eyes, but I've
seen Jurassic Park enough to know.
That makes it a credible fact that I watched Jurassic Park. I know how they look at me.
That's all you need. That is a legitimate documentary, guys.
Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, it's not?
No, definitely not. It's a movie.
how do you guys feel about Christmas lights in November?
I just saw some earlier. I literally just saw some earlier, and I thought about writing this down to talk about. I'm so glad you brought it up. These people, Halloween was 17 days ago. I guarantee I was not in this neighborhood 17 days ago, but there is no one else in this neighborhood that I was at today that had anything related to Christmas in their front yard. These people had the icicle lights. They had the fucking inflatable snowmen dudes. They had the little things that shoot up the snowflakes flying around on the outside of their house.
That's intense.
And it's not even Thanksgiving yet. I don't even like that shit on December 24th. Put up a string of lights. That's fine.
Zach, I love you so much more now because I hate Christmas. Fun fact, I fucking hate Christmas. And my wife, who is Jewish, loves Christmas. I mean, it works out because we get Hanukkah and Christmas presents. Pretty sick. I appreciate that part. But I hate Christmas. I hate putting up the tree. Like, I fucking hate it with a passion. I don't care about it. I don't care about presents. I appreciate the family aspect. I sure as hell don't want to decorate. Guess what I did yesterday? I put up Christmas lights. And I'm not gonna lie, I pulled up to my house. We bought like a Wi-Fi timer for it. That you control from your phone.
I'm feeling very festive right now. Let me just turn on this phone.
No, you know what really sucks? When you have Christmas lights on and you have to plug them in and then you go to bed and they're like illuminating your bedroom window and you're like, fuck, I have to go outside to unplug those things. Well, I can do it from my phone. But anyways, I came home from my parents' house tonight, had dinner there, and our lights were set up on a timer. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt kind of good walking into my house. Partially, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing because my house was the only house on our block that has Christmas lights. So no matter which way you frame it, we're those people. We're either the crazy people who have lights on in November, or we're just the crazy people who put Christmas lights in general.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think you're crazy people that puts Christmas lights in general. I think it's like a family thing. You know, you're trying to celebrate the holidays, but November is
very calm. Christmas
fucking
lights.
Soon, man.
And like, I should clarify that when I'm talking about Christmas lights, we have like a light post on our lawn, like for our sidewalk, and I put some lights around that, and then I put some lights around the hand railing of our stairs. So we're not. I didn't go full like Christmas extravaganza.
Right.
It's just some little white lights here and there, and I kind of like it. I'm kind of.
But is there a stage 2 to this? Like December 1st, bam! You're gonna have like blow up Santa on your fucking roof with like
not this year.
Reindeer. Okay.
Next year, I might put some lights on our roof just to match because it does feel a little. It feels half-assed, and you know me, I'm not a half-assed kind of guy. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna fucking full-ass it. Which is a very weird statement. What does half-assed mean?
You do things half-assed, so therefore you're like,
you don't say.
You're just like, you want to put 100% into it, but you're like, maybe I'll just put 49.5%.
But why is it called half-assed? Is it like you're only sitting on half a chair? Like
I bet it's related to like it's a farming reference. It's probably an acid reference to a donkey. So you have 2 donkeys doing work. If you have a donkey and maybe the donkey's he's sort of not working to his full potential. He's half-assing it.
That makes sense.
That's my guess. I wanted to bring up, and it's completely unrelated.
Oh my god!
I've been, huh? What?
I figured it out.
What?
The Google machine, because we don't have a fact checker, because we don't pay enough apparently. So the statement "half-assed" is a corruption of half-adzed, and adze is similar to an axe with a horizontal blade instead of a vertical one. So wooden floors left rough are half-adzed because not much work was put into them.
Huh.
Interesting.
Jumbo,
the more you know.
Fact of the day.
I like it. I like that.
That's going to be my new thing when someone at work says half-assed. I'll be like,
You're going to be that guy.
I also really like when people say rule of thumb. And I go, is that PC culture?
Yeah, sure.
Because you know where that came from, right?
Oh, yeah. You can't beat your wife with anything wider than your thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I always chuckle a little bit when a female says it inside. I don't do it verbally, but I'm
like... I wanted to bring this up, and it's unrelated, but I've been, for the past, I don't know, I guess a year, I've been going, every couple weeks, whatever, to a therapist, just sort of talking some stuff out, getting my brain straight and all that stuff. And this past week I went, and I was just talking, I was saying, like, I sort of just get negative on myself, like get down on myself, and I think I have some self-image issues. And she was like, and then she thought for a second, and then she said one of the least prolific things I've ever heard in my life. She said, how about you just don't do that? I was like,
thanks.
I was like, oh yeah, I paid $40 for this.
Thank you.
You caught her on a hungover day. She was definitely hungover.
What a statement, right? You went to school for this, right?
Zach, as someone who has a psychology degree and took counseling classes, that's definitely in the handbook.
Yeah.
Hey, this sucks. Yeah, then don't do it because it sucks. What?
Yeah, I rethought everything in that moment. I was like, we've sort of built up a rapport over the past year. Like, I trust you. I talk about stuff with you and all that stuff. But I don't know that I can. Part of me was like, do I just call it right here? Like, is this the end of it all? Like,
yeah, like
I've done it. I've solved all my problems. I just don't do them.
Gee, why didn't I think of that? Thank you, Doc. Like, I'm cured.
Well, Zach, I love you. I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Everybody has mental health struggles some days here and there, so
yeah.
I commend you for, wanting to check up on your brain like that.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing is you're trying something out. And maybe that piece of advice wasn't great, but everyone has a bad day,
I've gotten a lot from it, but the way I think about it is like, you're having knee pain, you're going to go see your doctor about your knee,
exactly.
Right?
And that's the way I look at it. Although I once had knee pain and went to my doctor and said, hey, it hurts when I do this. And they literally said, don't do that.
Well, but that makes sense.
It makes sense if it's a physical ailment, but
you should be giving some sort of a corrective.
You like open yourself up to your therapist. They're like, yeah, just don't do that. Oh, that was easy.
I openly laughed.
Oh my god, did you?
At the therapist, yeah.
What did she say?
I openly laughed. Like, she said it, and I fell over on the couch laughing. I was and like, not just a laugh, not a chuckle, a full-on guffaw, just like really loud. Like, if there was anybody in the adjoining offices that could hear, I guarantee they would have heard me laugh.
What was her response?
She laughed about it too, because she was like, okay, that was a bad
All right.
Yeah, that was not good, you know. And she sort of knew it. Whenever I fell over laughing, she's like, "Yeah, okay, that was bad."
Yeah,
that's fair. Well, it's crazy to think it, but we just hit the 1 hour mark, and though I'd really love to stay and talk more, it's my snack time. But before we go, Frank, I don't know if you participate in the jumbled survey last time you were on. I don't think you did.
I did not.
Okay, I'm going to show you a picture.
Okay, wait, hang on. I gotta turn photos back on Skype. Give me 1 second here.
I'm going to show you a picture, and you're going to answer if you think that Santa molested me or not. All right?
You know what? It is sort of getting.
Are you ready? Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. I see your beautiful face now. So, you know,
look at that hand. Look at the hand.
Look at that pinky. Where's that pinky?
It's in context, but I think he's just doing his job, and maybe you look a little taller. I don't know, but that pinky was it's questionable.
All right, so
I'm gonna have to go with no, though. I'm gonna have to give him benefit of the doubt. You know,
all right.
You know,
so
I mean, if he was trying to molest you, all four fingers would be pointing down, and then it would be sliding down.
Well, but it's a photo. He could have been going he could have been doing the sideways
Polaroid. I don't even know where I got this from. To be honest.
I'm going to give Santa the benefit of the doubt. That's a PG-13 type of photo. So
I got to find my jumbled book and put that down. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure the tally for and against me being assaulted by Santa is heavily weighted in the 4, but I appreciate
3-1 right now.
Your willingness to see the good in all people. And I also really appreciate you coming on and having a hilarious conversation for the past hour and a bit. You're welcome on anytime. Just let us know when you want to come and shoot the shit with us. This was a great episode.
I really appreciate you guys having me on again. You guys are so funny. You know, like everybody needs to listen to Jumbled. Like, I tell everybody, go listen to Jumbled. You know, I don't know if they actually do, but you guys are doing a great job. You guys are fucking hilarious. Like,
I appreciate that. This episode, definitely one of my favorite ones. This was great.
I like this one.
I know you're not going to shout it out, so I'm going to shout it out to all of our Jumbled listeners. Check out 3310, Frank's company. We also have an episode. I can't remember the number, but you should listen to that. Talking more. Great clothing line. Great styles. Great cause. Great dude. Go support it. Zach, take us out.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by, everybody. We appreciate you guys. If you guys want to follow us on any and all social media, just search for @Jumbled Podcast. We're on all major social media platforms, so find us there. Send us any emails to jumbledpodcast@gmail.com or johnny.jumbled@gmail.com. Want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled. Get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. Also, head over to patreon.com/jumbled. Pay $500 and get me and Johnny an address. We've been itching to do it. I've got the perfect dress picked out. I don't know about Johnny. I've got all of my makeup picked out. I'm going full tilt woman. All right, you won't be able to tell. Besides for the beard, We're gonna
tuck Zach so hard.
Oh, I'm already tucked. I've been doing it for a while, man. I'm ready. And believe me, with this python that I'm lugging around, it's not easy. So I'm putting in the work. So go ahead, head over, pay $500. Just let's get this going. And wherever you're listening, keep listening there. It's totally fine. But I would ask that you please head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rate and also review the podcast. Let us know how we can improve. We're always looking to do bigger, better things here on the podcast. So we need your input for that. But that's going to do it, guys. We really enjoyed this one. We hope you did too. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Jumbled, your favorite podcast.
About nothing and everything all at the same time.
God, ain't that the truth?
See you guys later.
See you guys.
Dude, this gun cleaner that I have smells like eggnog, and it fucking makes me so happy.
Does it get your actual gun rock solid?
It gets everything rock solid, baby. We are recording now, by the way.
Okay. Oh shit.